Hello, and welcome to Khyber Shards, a 5th edition actual play show set in the Eberron campaign world. It is Friday, so we have a Khyber Shards Answers, and we are joined silently by Eric.
Hello.
Yes, you will have to interpret Eric's dance in order to learn his answers. How's it going, buddy?
Good. You know, we just played last night. Like
it's weird doing this when we're so far ahead.
So,
yeah.
But no, it's good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm tired, and it's really hot.
Yes, it is. It actually, we got a bit of a cold front up here in Oklahoma. It's 96. So
Nice.
Yeah.
It rained last night. So instead of being 106, it's 101 with 1,000% humidity.
Yeah.
Just walk outside and feel your clothes stick to you.
Yep.
On the other hand, some of the giant fissures that had opened up in my lawn closed themselves as the ground absorbed moisture. But we need more, so here's hoping. Anyway, several episodes ago, we headed into Blackbriar. Really good job running the camera for Tailspire, by the way. It was very, very clear what was going on. So our problem with Tailspire the first time was the upload was very, very jerky. So this time Eric is recording separately on OBS on his computer. That way I can use the GM tools without that going into the overlay. So it was a little bit more complex this time, but I think it came out looking really good.
That could help.
Yes. We have a few questions for, actually, some of them for Kara. And
yes,
for you as well. So Emily asks, is Kara as scared of Ezri as she was 10-ish episodes ago? I was a little surprised that she was so willing to go spy on Geralt for Ezri, and was wondering if she was doing it out of fear of what Ezri would do to her if she didn't, or if she had come to trust him more over the past few weeks, or something else maybe.
Yeah, Kara is doing her best to be neutral. She's trying to get there, not trust Ezri, because I can't imagine that either of them have extended levels of olive branches to gain trust with one another, but just trying to get to a neutral ground of, hey, I don't think that you're a monster. So she's working on it. Now, it's only been, we haven't had a major time jump since.
Not a lot, no.
Yeah.
It's been a matter of, yeah.
So, certainly the quickness with which she agreed and was like, yeah, I'll go do this was a little bit based out of fear, because even if Kara is not going to believe that Ezri is the monster that she was raised to believe people with Ezri's mark are, Ezri's also been very aggressive towards Kara and Nasaria. And so, yeah, that was a little bit of it of like, if I say no, I don't know what he's going to do right now. So yeah, cool. Yep. Just don't put any of your weird spores in me. That would be super. Yes. Thank you. So,
CComp 5950 would like to ask, would you rather fight a single horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
I would rather fight 100 duck-sized horses, because I feel like the primary source of a horse's strength in a fight comes from its size and its power. And so once you shrink that down, sure, their kicks aren't going to feel good, but it's not going to be as devastating. Whereas a duck's primary mode of offense is just sheer terror, and that's going to be amplified if it's horse size. And its teeth are going to be the duck gets more dangerous, the horses get less dangerous. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
I think horse-sized duck, because I think 100 of anything is going to be very difficult to handle if we're talking about a situation where they're trying to do me harm. I feel like pure numbers are going to be the problem with the 100 duck-sized horses. So I think horse-sized duck, because I just have to deal with one. I feel like there are a lot of ways, and I'm assuming we're talking about like physical size, not weight, because a duck would have to get much larger than a horse to weigh what a horse does.
Yeah. I was assuming size as well.
Yeah. And here's an interesting question. If a duck grows to the size of a horse, will its semi-hollow bones support that structure, or is it just crippled?
I think you have to make the concession that like the mutation doesn't immediately render it immobile.
That's fair. Still, it's got weak legs.
Yeah, that's fair. He also says, can you please roll for initiative? I would rather run a single horse-sized combat encounter, because 100 of anything in combat sounds like a nightmare.
It's got to be swarms, right? You got to run them as like several swarms.
Yeah.
Just
from an action
duck-sized horses.
Standpoint, one is in your favor. So
that's true. Nathan wants to know, how do you feel Ari's warlock and sorcerer levels are working together? I'm curious about this too. How are you liking the build?
I'm enjoying it. There are a couple things that are just like fingertips away from me in terms of the warlock side of things, that like I hit moments where I regret taking the 3-level dip, because like I'd already have this and this and this if I was like on a single path for warlock. So that is a bummer. But on the inverse, I did a 3-level dip into sorcerer, and so every time we level up, there's always that temptation to take one more level in sorcerer just to get the quick feat/ability score improvement. Like it's just sitting there teasing me. But you know, I didn't do the sorcerer dip for any major mechanical benefits. The sorcery points and being able to quicken a spell, do an action spell as a bonus action, was probably the biggest mechanical element that I was like, ooh, that would be really nice to have, because then I could Eldritch Blast as a bonus action and then cast a spell. But I will say that a lot of the spells that I took with the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer Bloodline, is that what they're called? Origin? I can't remember. That had a lot of flavorful spells for what I was going for with Ari, is this telekinetic telepath that wasn't available to the warlock at all. And so that was also a big reason. So I think in terms of fleshing Ari out and giving him the abilities that I want him to have, like detect thoughts that I wouldn't have been able to get through just going straight warlock, has been really good. I think all the other mechanical bits are working well too. So
did you consider any other multi-class option when you were looking at it?
At the time, no. Simply because, you know, I was at that point still packed of the tome, and so I was going very spellcaster focused. If I would have been clairvoyant and known where Ari was going to end up now, then there are some that may have been appealing, but I don't know if I would qualify for any of them, because my strength is garbage and my dex isn't great either. So honestly, I think probably only spellcasters and bard, which is half-caster, would be all I really qualify for. That's fair. Bard was tempting. Bard was also tempting. College of Glamour. Ari being a hair metal ludist was appealing. But that was the only other one that I thought about. And also because half the people, including you, sometimes think that Ari's a bard, so I was like, I might as well lean into it. But
you play the art, like the personality archetype is very bard like. So it's easy to mistake. I've definitely said that. That's cool. I messed around with that. I remember messing around with that with Barrick. Barrick was briefly, in one of our attempts to flesh Barrick out, was briefly a hexblade with a shadow sorcerer mix. And I just didn't like it. I was trying to lean more into the sword, and
Yeah.
it didn't mesh as well.
And you went a little
But
paladin for a while
yeah.
too, didn't you?
Yeah, you and I tried to rebuild back in fourth edition. There was a shadowy paladin
Yeah.
build that didn't get all the healing and stuff, and we tried to mess around with a way to build that, but it didn't. You really have to build the paladin from the ground up
Yeah.
to make it work, because so much of the fifth edition paladin is just obviously positive things.
Yeah.
There's not really a good way to build a fully dark paladin. Even the darker builds like vengeance still get, also I can just cure you of diseases and
Yeah.
stuff. It's which it's fine, but it's a little it clashed with the aesthetic we were going for with Barrick. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I can't remember what the build was that you did where after a session you called me and said, "Hey, we need to rebuild Barrick because he's broken." And I could because I gave you some magic items that were just too synergistic and the whole party, Barrick was going to be able to deal insane damage on single turns and stuff like that. And so I do.
It was one of the subclasses for the Kinsei third party class that we were using, allowed him to do a little bit of radiant damage with his sword attacks, essentially add some radiant damage. And you had given me a ability to cause an enemy to become vulnerable to radiant damage for an extended period of time. And so it was just going to be, I was going to get to double damage on everything I did for several rounds. And it was just going to go, it was going to be crazy. So yeah, it was just too much, and I saw it, and there was another subclass that I had liked, so it was an easy switch.
Listeners who ever on Renewed will note that for campaign 2, I have made no homebrew magic items this time around because I learned lessons.
Instead, Eris makes all the homebrew magic items. I like that, actually. It's interesting, talking about magic item rewards. I kind of like that dynamic of having a player character that can design and build be the party's quartermaster, essentially. I think for one thing, I feel like it takes a bit of hassle off of the DM because you have to remember to give rewards. Of course, as a DM, it's part of the game. You have to remember to pick the magic items and try to make them interesting. But also not to give the players magic items that are going to make it impossible for you to create a compelling encounter in an effective way.
Yeah.
And 5th edition does a really good job of giving lots of advice on making every magic item interesting, even if it's just a +1 sword. But I find that on the occasions where you do have a player character that is creating a magic item, it becomes more interesting automatically because it has that background. So I like that element of things. I have found a set of rules that I would use if you guys ever started getting more things enchanted by Hular and Solarca or Forge or something like that, that allows for some more customization. So it'll be interesting if we get to there. But anyway, Laura says, as everyone knows, Ari has lost many, if not all, of his shirts. If Ari met someone who had kept one and forgotten him and thus presumes it's theirs, how would Ari go about getting his shirt back?
I don't know if Ari would worry about getting his shirt back. He inherited an entire wardrobe from Orlando Grimalkin. So he's got...
It's probably nicer than most of the shirts he had on himself.
Outdoor boy shirts. No, I mean, if Ari spotted somebody that had taken something of his, maybe not inherently a shirt, like if anybody but Levexi had stolen his loot, I think probably Ari would poem them, like say the incantation, and while they have the headache, snatch the thing and take off, like, give it back.
Oh, that's really funny. I saw I saw an article about someone who'd purchased a really nice bike and then it had gotten stolen, and then they found it for sale on Craigslist, and so they showed up to the person who was trying to sell it and asked if they could take it on a test ride, and then just took off.
Left. Yep.
Yeah, just stole back their bike. Laura would like to know, is Colin still allowed to be on the show after disrespecting Cal last episode?
No.
Well, we recorded a bunch with him last night, so
you can edit him out. Just edit around Colin.
That's true. Yeah. He's on warning. He's received a demerit.
Yeah.
On his permanent D&D record. And Laura also asks, Eric, do you think you'll get back to twitching at some point? In the sense of streaming
I take
on
medicine
Twitch,
now,
for those of you that
helpful.
can't see that Laura capitalized.
Yeah. So it's funny. I literally got this question from, we are in the process of moving, and we had somebody from a moving company come out and do an estimate for like how much it would cost to move all of our big stuff, because he wants to move a refrigerator. I don't. And he came into my office and saw my setup with like the lighting rig and the big key light and the camera. He's like, "Oh, do you stream on Twitch?" And I was like, I used to. I mostly focus on YouTube and podcast content now. And he's like, why don't you stream anymore? Are you going to stream? Like, is it a plan in the future to start streaming again? I was like, okay, buddy, how much is it going to cost to move my washer dryer? I don't need you thinking through, making me think about my life choices. But no, I would like to, but I don't think I would ever do it on a schedule again. Like, it might be just a fun way to like connect with people and be like, hey, tonight at 8, I'm going to be on Twitch if you all want to come hang out and chat, and I'll be like flipping through Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel, and we can like talk about the book and stuff. But doing a like every Tuesday and Sunday nights just isn't feasible. For one, I've gotten back into doing theater, and so that, makes it hard because my weeknights are taken up for like a month at a time at various points. And also I like the flexibility of when I decide I want to do something with my wife, not having to go, oh, I can't. So yeah, there's a long answer to say maybe.
There you go. And that's all of our questions. Yeah. Thank you all so much for submitting them. If you want to submit questions for Khyber Shards Answers, you can do so in comments or over on our Discord. You can find the link to that down in the description, along with link to our merch store and all of our various other social media. New episodes of Khyber Shards drop every Monday. New Khyber Shards Answers every Friday. And until next time, thanks for rolling with us. Boop.